Welcome to the Thornwillow Centennial reading of Ulysses. We are celebrating James Joyce's literary masterpiece by presenting the entire novel through a tapestry of hundreds of video clips that unite readers across the world. Thank you for joining us. And continuing now, episode 18, Penelope, with Meredith O'Brien, reading from Austin, Texas.
I'm Meredith O'Brien. I am an actress in Austin, Texas. I wrote my final thesis at Middlebury College on Ulysses, and I spent many cold Vermont nights imagining Molly all curled up in bed and cozy and having all these thoughts. That was a relief. Wherever you be, let your wind go free. Who knows if that pork chop I took with my cup of tea after was quite good with the heat. I couldn't smell anything off it. I'm sure that queer looking man in the pork butcher's is a great rogue. I hope that lamp is not smoking. Fill my nose up with smuts. Better than having him leaving the gas on all night. I couldn't rest easy in my bed in Gibraltar, even getting up to sea. Why am I so damned nervous about that? Though I like it in the winter, it's more company. Oh, Lord, it was rotten cold too that winter when I was only about 10. Was I? Yes. I had the big doll with all the funny clothes, dressing her up and undressing, that icy wind skeeting across from those mountains, the something Nevada, Sierra Nevada, standing at the fire with a little bit of a short shift I had up to heat myself. I loved dancing about in it, then make a race back into bed. I'm sure that fellow opposite used to be there the whole time, watching with the lights out in the summer, and I in my skin hopping around. I used to love myself then, stripped at the washstand, dabbing and creaming. Only when it came to the chamber performance, I put out the light too. So then there were two of us. Goodbye to my sleep for this night, anyhow. I hope he's not going to get in with those medicals leading him astray to imagine he's young again, coming in at 4 a.m. It must be, if not more. Still, he had the manners not to wake me. What do they find to gabber about all night, squandering money and getting drunker and drunker? Couldn't they drink water? Then he starts giving us his orders for eggs and tea, Findon Hattie, and hot buttered toast. I suppose we'll have him sitting up like the king of the country, pumping the wrong end of the spoon up and down in his egg, wherever he learned that from. And I love to hear him falling up the stairs of a morning with the cups rattling on the tray, and then play with the cat she rubs up against you for her own sake. I wonder if she has fleas. She's as bad as a woman, always licking and lecking. But I hate their claws. I wonder, do they see anything that we can't? Staring like that when she sits at the top of the stairs so long and listening as I wait, always. What a robber too, that lovely fresh place I bought. I think I'll get a bit of fish tomorrow or today. Is it Friday? Yes, I will. With some blancmange with black currant jam like long ago, not those 2-pound pots of mixed plum and apple from the London and Newcastle Williams and Woods. Goes twice as far, only for the bones. I hate those eels cod. Yes, I'll get a nice piece of cod. I'm always getting enough for 3, forgetting. Anyway, I'm sick of that everlasting butcher's meat from Buckley's, loin chops and leg beef and rib steak and scrag of mutton and calf's pluck. The very name is enough. Or a picnic. Suppose we all gave 5 each, and or let him pay and invite some other woman for him. Who? Mrs. Fleming. And drove out to the Furry Glen or the strawberry beds. We'd have him examining all the horses' toenails first, like he does with the letters. No, not with Boylan there. Yes. With some cold veal and ham mixed sandwiches. There are those little houses down at the bottom of the banks there on purpose. Oh, but it's hot as blazes. He says not a bank holiday. Anyhow, I hate those ruck of Marianne coal boxes out for the day. Whit Monday is a cursed day too. No wonder that bee bit him. Better the seaside. But I'd never again in this life get into a boat with him. After him at Bray telling the boatmen he knew how to row, if anyone asked he could ride the steeplechase for the Gold Cup, he'd say yes. Then it came on to get rough, the old thing crooketing about and the weight all down my side, telling me to pull the right reins, now pull the left, and the tide all swamping in floods in through the bottom, and his oar slipping out of the stirrup. It's a mercy we weren't all drowned. He can swim, of course. Me? No. Oh, there's no danger whatsoever. Keep yourself calm. In his flannel trousers, I'd like to have tattered them down off him before all the people and give him what that one calls flageolet till he's black and blue. Do him all the good in the world. Only for that long-nosed chap, I don't know who he is, with that other beauty, Burke, out of the City Arms Hotel, was there spying around as usual on the slip, always where he wasn't wanted. If there was a row on, you'd vomit a better face. There was no love lost between us. That's one consolation. I wonder what kind is that book he brought me. Sweets of Sin by a gentleman of fashion, some other Mr. de Kock. I suppose people gave him that nickname going about with his tube from one woman to another. I couldn't even change my new white shoes, all ruined with the salt water, and the hat I had with the feather all blowy and tossed on me. How annoying and provoking. Because the smell of the sea excited me, of course. The sardines and the bream of Catalan Bay found the back of the rock. They were fine, all silver in the fishermen's baskets. Old Luigi, near 100, they said, came from Genoa. And the tall old chap with the earrings. I don't like a man you have to climb up to get at. I suppose they're all dead and rotten long ago. Besides, I don't like being alone in this big barracks of a place at night. I suppose I'll have to put up with it. I never brought a bit of salt in, even when we moved in the confusion. Musical academy he was going to make on the first floor drawing room with a brass plate, or Bloom's private hotel, he suggested. Go and ruin himself altogether the way his father did down in Ennis, like all the things he told father he was going to do, and me. But I saw through him, telling me all the lovely places we could go for the honeymoon, Venice by moonlight, with the gondolas and the Lake of Como. He had a picture cut out of some paper of mandolins and lanterns. Oh, how nice, I said. Whatever I liked, he was going to do immediately, if not sooner. Will you be my man? Will you carry my can? He ought to get a leather medal with a putty rim for all the plans he invents, than leaving us here all day. You'd never know what old beggar at the door for a crust with his long story might be a tramp, or put his foot in the way to prevent me from shutting it, like that picture of that hardened criminal he was called in Lloyd's Weekly News, 20 years in jail. Then he comes out and murders an old woman for her money. Imagine his poor wife or mother or whoever she is. Such a face you'd run away from. I couldn't rest easy till I bolted all the doors and windows to make sure. But it's worse again, being locked up like in a prison or a madhouse. They ought to be all shot, or the cat of nine tails, a big brute like that would attack a poor old woman to murder her in her bed. I'd cut them off him, so I would. Not that it'd be much use. Still, better than nothing. The night I was sure I heard burglars in the kitchen, and he went down in his shirt with a candle and a poker, as if he was looking for a mouse, as white as a sheet, frightened out of his wits, making as much noise as he possibly could for the burglar's benefit. Well, there isn't much to steal, indeed, Lord knows. Still, it's the feeling, especially now with Millie away. Such an idea for him to send the girl down there to learn to take photographs on account of his grandfather, instead of sending her to Scary's Academy where she'd have to learn. Not like me, getting all at school. Only he'd do a thing like that all the same on account of me and Boylan. That's why he did it, I'm certain. The way he plots and plans everything out. I couldn't turn round with her in the place lately unless I bolted the door first. Gave me the fidgets coming in without knocking first. When I put the chair against the door, just as I was washing myself there below with the glove. Get on your nerves. Then, doing the log lady all day, put her in a glass case with two at a time to look at her. He knew she broke off the hand off that little gimcrack statue with her roughness and carelessness before she left, that I got that little Italian boy to mend so that you can't see the joint for 2 shillings. Wouldn't even steam the potatoes for you. Of course, she's right, not to ruin her hands. I noticed he was always talking to her lately at the table, explaining things in the paper, and she pretending to understand. Sly, of course. That comes from his side of the house. And helping her into her coat. But if there was anything wrong with her, it's meshed. Tell not him. He can't say I pretend things, can he? I'm too honest, as a matter of fact. I suppose he thinks I'm finished out and laid on the shelf. Well, I'm not. No. Nor anything like it. We'll see. We'll see now. She's well on for flirting too with Tom Devon's 2 sons, imitating me, whistling with those romps of Murray girls, calling for her. Can Millie come out, please? She's in great demand to pick what they can out of her round in Nelson Street, riding Harry Devon's bicycle at night. It's as well he sent her where she is. She was just getting out of bounds, wanting to go on the skating rink and smoking their cigarettes through their nose. I smelt it off her dress when I was biting off the thread of the button I sewed onto the bottom of her jacket. She couldn't hide much from me, I tell you. Only I oughtn't to have stitched it. And on her, it brings a parting. And the last plum pudding, too, split in 2 halves, see, it comes out. No matter what they say, her tongue is a bit too long for my taste. Your blouse is open too low, she says to me, the pan calling the kettle black bottom. And I had to tell her not to cock her legs up like that on show on the windowsill before all the people passing. They all look at her like me when I was her age. Of course, any old rag looks well on you then. A great touch me not too in her own way. It's the only way in the Theatre Royal. Take your foot away out of that. I hate people touching me. Afraid of her life, I'd crush her skirt with the pleats. A lot of that touching must go on in theaters in the crush in the dark. They're always trying to wiggle up to you. That fellow in the pit at the Gaiety for Beerbone Tree in Trilby. Last time I'll ever go there to be squashed like that for any Trilby. Or her bare bum every 2 minutes, tipping me there and looking away. He's a bit daft, I think. I saw him after trying to get near 2 stylish dressed ladies outside Switzer's window at the same little game. I recognized him on the moment, the face and everything. But he didn't remember me. And she didn't even want me to kiss her at the Broadstone going away. Well, I hope she'll get someone to dance attendance on her the way I did when she was down with the mumps and her glands swollen. Where's this and where's that? Of course, she can't feel anything deep. Yet, I never came properly till I was, 22 or so? It went into the wrong place, always. Only the usual girl's nonsense and giggling, that Connie Connolly writing to her in white ink on black paper sealed with sealing wax. Though she clapped when the curtain came down because he looked so handsome. Then we had Martin Harvey for breakfast, dinner, and supper. I thought to myself afterward, it must be real love if a man gives up his life for her that way for nothing. I suppose there are few men like that left. It's hard to believe in it, though, unless it really happened to me. The majority of them with not a particle of love in their natures. To find 2 people like that nowadays, full up of each other, that would feel the same way as you do, they're usually a bit foolish in the head. His father must have been a bit queer to go and poison himself after her. Still, poor old man. I suppose he felt lost, always making love to my things too, the few old rags I have, wanting to put her hair up at 15, my powder too, only ruin her skin on her. She's time enough for that all her life after, of course. She's restless, knowing she's pretty with her lips so red. A pity they won't stay that way. I was too. But there's no use going to the fair with the thing answering me like a fish woman when I asked to go for half a stone of potatoes the day we met Mrs. Joe Gallagher at the trotting matches. And she pretended not to see us in her trap with Friary, the solicitor. We weren't grand enough till I gave her 2 damn fine cracks across the ear for herself. Take that for answering me like that, and that for your impudence. She had me that exasperated, of course, contradicting. I was bad-tempered too, because how was it? There was a weed in the tea? Or I didn't sleep the night before? Cheese I ate, was it? And I told her over and over again not to leave the knives crossed like that, because she has nobody to command her, as she said herself. Well, if he doesn't correct her, Faith, I will. That was the last time she turned on the tear tap. I was just like that myself. They daren't order me about the place. It's his fault, of course, having the 2 of us slaving here instead of getting in a woman long ago. Am I ever going to have a proper servant again. Of course, then she'd see him coming. I'd have to let her know or she'd revenge it. Aren't they a nuisance? That old Mrs. Fleming, you have to be walking round after her, putting the things in her hands, sneezing and farting into the pots. Well, of course, she's old. She can't help it. A good job I found that rotten old smelly dishcloth that got lost behind the dresser. I knew there was something and opened the window to let out the smell, bringing in his friends to entertain them. Like the night he walked home with a dog, if you please, that might have been mad. Especially Simon Dedalus, son, his father, such a criticizer, with his glasses up, with his tall hat on him at the cricket match, and a great big hole in his sock. One thing laughing at the other. And his son that got all those prizes for whatever he won them in the intermediate. Imagine climbing over the railings if anybody saw him that knew us. Wonder he didn't tear a big hole in his grand funeral trousers, as if the one nature gave wasn't enough for anybody, hawking him down into the dirty old kitchen. Now, is he right in his head, I ask? Pity it wasn't washing day. My old pair of drawers might have been hanging up too on the line and on exhibition for all he'd ever care, with the iron mold mark, the stupid old bundle burned on them, he might think was something else. And she never even rendered down the fat I told her. And now she's going such as she was on account of her paralyzed husband getting worse. There's always something wrong with them, disease, or they have to go under an operation, or if it's not that, it's drink, or he beats her. Oh, I'll have to hunt around again for someone. Every day I get up, there's some new thing on. Sweet God, sweet God. Well, when I'm stretched out dead in my grave, I suppose I'll have some peace. I want to get up a minute if I'm wait. Oh, Jesus, wait, yes. That thing has come on me. Yes. Now, wouldn't that afflict you? Of course, all the poking and rooting and plowing he had up in me. Now, what am I to do? Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Wouldn't that pester the soul out of a body? Unless he likes it, like some men do. God knows there's always something wrong with us. 5 days, every 3 or 4 weeks. Usual monthly auction, isn't it? Simply sickening. That night it came on me like that. The one and only time we were in a box that Michael Gunn gave him to see Mrs. Kendall and her husband at the Gaiety. Something he did about insurance for him. Drimmies. I was fit to be tied, though. I wouldn't give in, with that gentleman of fashion staring down at me with his glasses, and him the other side of me talking about Spinoza and his soul that's dead, I suppose 1,000,000 years ago. I smiled the best I could, all in a swamp, leaning forward as if I was interested, having to sit it out then to the last tag. I won't forget that wife of Scarley in a hurry, supposed to be a fast play about adultery. That idiot in the gallery, hissing, "The woman adulteress," he shouted. I suppose he went and had a woman in the next lane running round all the back ways after to make up for it. I wish he had what I had then. He'd boo, I bet. The cat itself is better off than us. Have we too much blood up in us, or what? Oh, patience above, it's pouring out of me like the sea. Anyhow, he didn't make me pregnant, as big as he is. I don't want to ruin the clean sheets. The clean linen I wore brought it on too. Damn it, damn it. They always want to see a stain on the bed to know if you're a virgin for them. Oh, that's troubling them. Oh, they're such fools too. You could be a widow or divorced 40 times over. A daub of red ink would do, or blackberry juice. No, that's too purply. Oh, Jamesy, let me up out of this poo, sweets of sin. Whoever suggested this business for women, what between clothes and cooking and children, this damn old bed too jingling like the Dickens. I suppose they could hear us away over the other side of the park till I suggested we put the quilt on the floor with the pillow under my bottom. I wonder, is it nicer in the day? I think I'll cut all this hair off me. There, scalding me. I might look like a young girl. Wouldn't he get the great sucking the next time he turned up? My clothes on me. I'd give anything to see his face. Where's the chamber gone? Easy. I've a holy horror of its breaking under me after that old commode. I wonder, was I too heavy? Sitting on his knee. I made him sit on the easy chair purposely when I took off only my blouse and skirt first in the other room. He was so busy where he oughtn't to be. He never felt me. I hope my breath was sweet after those kissing comfits easy. God, I remember one time I could scout it out straight, whistling like a man, almost easy. Oh, Lord, how noisy. I hope there are bubbles on it for a wad of money from some fellow. I'll have to perfume it in the morning. Don't forget. I bet he never saw a better pair of thighs than that. Look how white they are. The smoothest place is right there between this bit here. How soft, like a peach. Easy. God, I wouldn't mind being a man and get up on a lovely woman. Oh, Lord, what a row you're making, like the Jersey lily. Easy, easy. Oh, how the waters come down at Lahore.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of The Colophon and our Centennial reading of Ulysses from Thornwillow Press. Be sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and please consider supporting us by visiting our website, www.thornwillow.com. Your help makes this and all our endeavors possible.